This may surprise you, but I don't celebrate July 4th per se. In fact, I came to the conclusion that simply celebrating July 4th doesn't make any sense. I do, however, celebrate Independence Day. The reason I make this distinction is that too often we as Americans lose sight of why this day is set aside in the first place. We have begun to refer to the celebration of our country's independence with a passing reference to a day on the calendar in July. And I believe this, at least to some degree, contributes to what is often shallowness in our recognition of this important American holiday. This year marks the 244th anniversary of the United States of America's Declaration of Independence from Great Britain. Americans rightly celebrate the unparalleled contribution their nation has made to the protection of God-given liberties, both for its own citizens and through its influence around the world. In an interesting piece of history regarding Independence Day, Declaration signers John Adams and Thomas Jefferson both died on the same day, July 4th, 1826. This date was the Declaration's 50-year anniversary. These men were the only two signers of the Declaration to later serve as presidents of the United States. So let's get real. No person or nation is without flaws. However, in spite of our imperfections, we should love our country enough to work towards its welfare and mend what we know to be broken. So much suffering and hardship was undertaken by the generation of Americans who declared and fought for independence. They didn't simply celebrate independence in 1776. They wrought it by their blood, sweat, and tears. In so doing, they prevailed in securing the right to govern themselves, and thereby were able to pass this sacred privilege to their posterity. Declaration signer John Adams said, "Posterity, you will never know how much it costs the present generation to preserve your freedom. I hope you will make a good use of it. If you do not, I shall repent in heaven that I ever took half the pains to preserve it." Avoiding the undesirable end that John Adams described will require conscious effort, not simply casting a vote every couple of years. Why? Because the moral foundations which enable our form of government to operate and exist in the first place are under attack. Is it just my opinion that the collapse of moral principles in America will be our demise? No. John Adams said, "We have no government armed with power capable of contending with human passions unbridled by morality and religion. Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other." Citizens united in defense of their country's Constitution and common moral principles are best suited to reconcile differences that may otherwise separate them. Our Constitution gives us the legal framework to address what is broken in our country, from addressing the tyranny-leaning inclinations of many of our modern-day governmental officials to dealing with injustices that have prevailed for generations. The Constitution even has a built-in method enabling Americans to amend it, should there be a need to do so. We must reject the voice of those in society calling for the destruction of the legal authority structures that the Constitution created. However, we won't be able to do so without the foundation of the pillar principles, moral principles essential for our nation to survive and thrive. John Adams also stated, less than 2 weeks prior to the Declaration being announced, that it is religion and morality alone which can establish the principles upon which freedom can securely stand. The pillar citizen community will defend, preserve, and advance the moral foundations of the United States of America, our constitutional republic. Our beloved USA has always had enemies. The only question is whether you and I will defend her from them. If we don't, Mr. Adams's regret and no doubt tears in heaven may fall as we prove ourselves unworthy of the liberties and blessings that were left to us. If you're not already engaged in this struggle, we strongly encourage you to resolve otherwise. There's a lot of heavy lifting ahead if we are to successfully defend our shared pillar principles, our Constitution, and to ultimately save our republic. This is a land that people the world over seek to come to as a refuge from the oppression they experience in other nations. We must not let tyranny, lawlessness, and immorality destroy our nation. Get in touch with us today and learn how you can join us at pillarcitizen.com. Happy July 4th. I mean, Independence Day. Until next time, this is Aaron Robertson for The Pillars.